Okay. All right. So as I was saying, within my graduate training, my emphasis has been on political economy, uh, mobility and migration. And I choose the word mobility over migration, but most people understand the term migration. And education broadly understood, not just schooling, but education as being almost like the processual part of culture, if you will. Geographically, I've focused mainly on the Americas and specifically the Caribbean, but I also have done readings for Central Africa and specifically the Congo and Angola and Liberia. And I've, of course, because of my family connection, been doing readings, little bits and pieces my whole life about usually South India. So.
Oh, so yeah, we have started this organization, Anthropological Association for Humankind.
Yes.
The sole motivation is to spread anthropological applications to human problems and in what way anthropology can serve humanity in solving their problems and improving their condition. So um, it, while I was responding to the questions of the students in the University of Hyderabad alumni, so I was raising serious questions. We anthropologists, we study humans, groups, and the society and issues, and why we are not able to make the mark in the academics, in the universities. The departments are closing down, and in the PG colleges, graduation colleges are also, the anthropology positions are closing down. So anthropology in India is in a critical situation. So when students are asking about their job prospects and um, there was not sufficient response, so I felt disappointed. So then I took it as a challenge and started thinking, reflecting, and raising questions, then posting long messages, and so that's how the journey started. Finally I wrote a concept note and how to make anthropology popular in India, and how to include anthropology as a discipline, as a subject of teaching in 10+2 level and graduation and postgraduate university level. So I have started developing the strategy. So uh, popularizing for namesake, it does not work. So we have to popularize the applications of anthropology, the utility, the benefits of that anthropology can offer for the to building the stronger families and for the character formation of the, and in the acquiring the required competencies for to be successful in their jobs and the workplace and in their life. So that's how we are going. If we are able to address the national issues, the which government is struggling, so those policy issues and the implementation and all these important contributions that anthropology can make, then people will look for, governments will come forward to seek the advice from the anthropologists, and even parents also will come forward, because educational needs are catered by anthropology, and competency acquisition also be facilitated by anthropological insights. So the family counseling and addressing each and every problem. So issue based research, anthropological research, ethnographic work, that we need to promote, so that we will come up with a better and advices, workable solutions which can attract the common man. anthropology for common men, ordinary humans, so that everybody will realize, yeah, anthropology, we know it's very useful for study, and we also want to learn. Even the illiterates also wants to learn. That kind of saturation we need to bring. Then the things will work out. So, so then the entire focus came to applications. So applied anthropology became my natural area to launch, and then to popularize anthropology and its utility in not only from the power corridors and public policy and each sector of society, catering the total needs of the total man. How anthropology can be an instrumental in bringing the wisdom and the practical solutions, showcase that kind of thing, so that we can really convince the governments and the common men, and so that the people will come forward for to apply for anthropology and to sanction funds for inclusion of anthropology at the teaching level, at the same time from the students motivation also. So applied anthropology is the only alternative where, which I have realized, without applied domain of anthropological contributions for public safety, security, and flourishment, not only survival, for the flourishment of the nations and governments, stability of the governments, all these things, how anthropology can be useful. So that became the central task of my vision. So I have day and night I have been working, thinking, reflecting, writing, and started one group, WhatsApp group separately, because our head of the department, he suggested, Rattaiah, you are posting too many long messages. So I advise you to start a separate group, and you can ask some people who are willing to join with you, and only important achievements you can post in the group, alumni group. So otherwise it became a big noise kind of stuff. So, so he never said that noise word, but indirectly he suggested. Directly he contacted me over phone. He was my teacher in post graduation. So Rattaiah, you are posting long messages, frequent messages, and why don't you start a new group? Then I submitted to him his advice. Then I started a group with my wife. My wife is a mathematics teacher in the engineering college. But to start a group, somebody is needed. So with her, I started a group called Anthropology for India. So and then one by one, slowly people started joining. Anthropologists started joining. Then I removed my wife's name from the group. So purely anthropology group. Now it was started in September 27th. Now we have 230 anthropologists in our group.
Wow.
Yeah, it's growing like a very interesting group, and the senior most anthropologists in the country joined, and they're also are convinced by the logic. And even though they are academic anthropologists, the retired people, they to popularize anthropology, to save anthropology, applications and applied anthropology is a must kind of thing. So then they started contributing in the discussion, ongoing discussion, and become a vibrant group now.
Excellent.
So yeah, and in that process I posted this policy document, 5 pages policy document. I wrote what is the strategy we need to do, and when compared to other disciplines, what are the strengths we have and why we are not able to celebrate those strengths in the public sphere, and why we are our voice is so dumb and so dull. So these are the things, and a strategy paper, I think, some kind of a vision statement I
Sure.
came forward. So all the points which I mentioned in the earlier days of the document, and almost everything, organization got registered, and we started an international institute for anthropological applications. It is a virtual institute. We started a course called digital anthropology. Uh, So for to equip our anthropology graduates and scholars and faculty with this newly emerging field, and
Mhm.
also in future we want to offer courses, um, particularly applied anthropology, purely a kind of pure, this name of the institute itself is Anthropological Applications, International
Right.
Institute of Anthropological Applications.
Yeah.
So and India is known for corruption, and a lot of corruption every from the lower level to higher levels. So the corruption and the student suicides, there are burning problems, agriculture related problem, farmers issues. There are many issues to focus. So research projects and some I don't know how the PhDs to encourage research scholars to join our institute, to take up the issue based research, and so that we can guide them. So in the long run.
Well, thank you for that. I mean, I think from what you said, there's a lot which articulates with the way that I've been trained and the way that I see anthropology. Uh, a lot of this, is some of the discourse that I share with my even introductory students. Because in the United States, all students going through undergraduate have to take a certain number of courses. They may be, computer science majors. They may be whatever, pre-med students, something like this, and they're never going to take another anthropology class, but they have to take one as a part of their curriculum. And so they take this class, and I teach one section of cultural anthropology. And so I have to tell them and try and get them somewhat excited about cultural anthropology. And I share it from my perspective professionally, and say that, look, you may never take another anthropology class, but I think that anthropology, not just cultural anthropology, but all anthropology, including biological anthropology, including archaeology, including linguistic anthropology, cultural anthropology, all of that is the best way to understand problems of humans before we can, because you cannot solve a problem if you do not understand it.
Exactly.
And so, people can come up and say, okay, well, here's what we're going to do. Here's what we're going to do. What is the problem? And it goes back to, again, the way that I was trained, is that we were trained in a problem. I think you called it issue-based. The language that we were throwing around was problem-based. I mean, same thing, right?
Exactly. Perfect
It's,
connection.
it was a problem-based approach. And so, for example, I just submitted a grant this past week because, for example, uh, um, for doing research in Haiti, in the Caribbean. So in the open marketplaces, you have lots of women, but also young girls who are selling, agricultural products, and so they're there by, selling and making change with customers and these sorts of things. Um, and they're helping out their elders, the elder women. And then fast forward to the university. And even though there are more women going to the university than men, you see fewer women in math-based fields. But clearly, girls have the mathematical ability. So how is it that girls clearly demonstrate mathematical ability from a young age, and yet when it gets to the university, they're not present in math-based fields? This is a problem, right? As a part of the grand promise of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, they said they want to have education for all, they want to have gender equity and things like this. And they want to have opportunities for boys and girls to go to school. Well, but then there's a process by which girls' knowledge is marginalized. That's a problem, right? So
Yeah.
then we have to study this anthropologically before we try and just say, let's throw money at it. Let's give them canteens and give them vouchers to go to school. Do you understand the problem,
Exactly.
right? And then you can start to come up with good solutions, right? Um,
Exactly.
and so, yeah, and I think it's interesting that you brought up the different levels of the government interest in anthropology, the familial interest, the student interest. Um, because in my department, actually, at university, where is it? Uh, University of South Florida, wherever it is, I can't find it on my shirt, going backwards.
Uh,
Uh,
University of South Florida.
yes, and we are going through a process right now because we're trying to increase our recruitment in general, but also specifically we want to have targeted recruitment to diversify the anthropological population, because historically in the United States, anthropology has been dominated by white men. And we, despite the fact that there have been, Black anthropologists, there have been women anthropologists, there have been Indian anthropologists from the very beginning in the United States. Some of the earliest dissertation, there was I forget his name, but he was an Indian gentleman who wrote a dissertation at Columbia University with Franz Boas. Um, I'll get his name and see if you know his work. But these voices are kind of silenced and downplayed, and we want to diversify and bring more people in. I bring this up because the department made it a strategic goal. So then we had to figure out, how do we do this recruitment? And so I was kind of chair of this committee to develop an outreach strategy. But in order to do that, again, problem-based, we needed to understand, what did students want when they were choosing a major? Why did students enroll in anthropology? Why did they enroll in biology? Why did they enroll in anything? What's the point in going to college? And if we don't understand that, then no amount of beautiful marketing will matter, right?
Exactly.
Right? If their number one point is, I want to go to the university so I can find someone to marry, well, that's something we need to know, right? Or if it's, I need to find a job, or if it's, I want to expand my mind, whatever it is, we need to know that if we want to try and make outreach activities for them. And so that's what I've had to do. And I would suggest that that would be a rich activity for the IIAA to undertake it as well, at the multiple levels, for the different government actors, the families, the students, prospective students, and say, why would you do this? Why would you study anything? And it doesn't have to be anthropology. What's your thinking? What are the social forces? Is it family pressure for you to study? For example, in my family, my father's father was a doctor. My father is a doctor. My sister is a doctor. It's this sort of familial thing that goes down, right? I'm not the doctor, so I'm the crazy boy. But
You are a doctor in anthropology.
that's yeah, I'm not the medical doctor. So, but there's that sort of pressure, right? And that exists as something. Is that something that needs to be thought about? And if that's the case, how does that get addressed? And I think there's a clear way, quite honestly. I think with Professor Dugarala and his work in biological anthropology could make an excellent case to any parent that if their child was interested in following this sort of medical path, I mean, his work on diabetes is wonderful. And I think it could be an easy sell to say, look, if you want your child to go into this medical field, look at this biological anthropologist doing great work in the health field.
Exactly.
So
Yeah, I come to know that he has three areas in India, three universities he is partnering with, and doing some this is diabetes related research work.
yeah, and I would very much, I have for the longest time, actually, even before I went to graduate school, I have said for the longest time that I would like to be doing work in India. I would like to be doing research in India.
Oh,
Uh, specifically, I'd like to be doing work in South India, around the area where my family came from, which is Mysore, but also the sort of Tamil Nadu border area, which is where my family came from, Tamil
okay.
Nadu and Karnataka. So, there's a little tiny hamlet called Marandapalli, and that's actually where the family came from. So,
Wonderful.
I would very much like a chance. And so I've talked with Professor Dugarala about, about something, and that's why I was very happy to have a conversation with you all to see how can we support each other.
Yeah.
So,
So in right time, the right person came into connection. That's the divine co-orchestration, I feel.
yeah,
Finding the right people in the right time for the right purpose is not an easy task.
no. And you also connected. I think Professor Dugarala also connected you with one of my colleagues and mentors, Professor Bart Dean.
Yes, he's our vice president now.
Oh yeah, he's very, very, I mean, we've worked together. I'm very, very close with him. So
So yeah, in the initial days, he was mentioning about your name to Professor Dugirala, and he was endorsing also. So
yeah,
finally, things came together. That's
wonderful.
wonderful. When I'm looking at the how you analyze the issues and trying to understand the problem first, and how anthropology is highly useful in helping people understand the causes of the problem, contributing factors of the problem, and then only we will be able to solve smartly. So that is really where people need to understand the anthropological contributions. So recently we have taken up another step forward to conduct the interviews with the senior anthropologists in India, and asking them their contributions to the discipline, at the same time slowly shifting the discussion towards the applications, what anthropology can do to the improvement of human condition in the country, and what are your suggestions for future anthropology kind of stuff. So that we scheduled started interviewing. So um, yeah.
No, I think it's great to reach out to the senior figures, and not only to get kind of drop on their knowledge, but also as a degree to document the history of anthropology. Right?
Yeah, it is indirectly contributing that aspect also. These interviews, this documentation,
Yes.
and this YouTube uploads will spread the news in the media, at the same time in the publishing this thing. So series of publications. So we are targeting a major current anthropology who are retired and have sufficient time. So some of them around uh, uh, 18 people came forward to be with us and the advisory council. Um, so there are some people who are even though they are not on the advisory council, but they are willing to support the cause.
Excellent.
So yeah, one after one we will be conducting interviews and taking their inputs. Sufficient time in multiple doses to get their insights and their accumulated wisdom, all through these 30 years, or some people 35 years of accumulated anthropological wisdom that we don't want to miss. I will send you the questionnaire I have developed for the this the interview.
Oh, that would be
So
lovely.
if you can, it is around 30 questions. If you can add some questions or edit, because it is going to be in the media, I am going to upload in the YouTube channel.
Okay. It would be an honor. I would love
Yeah.
to help.
So, or some add some questions because different parts we want to categorize, divide the questions, so
Sure.
that because the international audience also will be viewing people interested in the Indian anthropology. So,
Sure.
yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah, I look forward to that.
Our mother tongue is Telugu, so we are not that much professional, good at English. So, yeah,
Oh,
some
geez.
some some working knowledge we have. So we
Look,
need some editorial.
your working knowledge is amazing.
Thank you, thank you. Uh, So one the other thing is journal, International Journal of um, Anthropological Applications. Again, institute and journal, these two things to promote anthropological applications.
Mhm.
So the scattered experiences across the world, what are the success stories that anthropology played? There's a key stakeholders who contributed for the success of the maybe governments or maybe the individuals or families or whatever the issues in solving the problem. How anthropology was instrumental. Those scattered success stories we want to tap and connect with the global applied anthropologists and their cases. We want to publish in that journal, so so that it will serve as a voice for published voice for anthropology in each and every institution, library and government offices. We want to share that copy, the journal copy, so that how anthropology is useful. So then while they refer to different case studies from across the world, why not India kind of stuff? So that kind of the published and systematic scientific journal to promote the issue-based research and success stories, how human problems are addressed through anthropological wisdom, and finally the human condition is improved, kind of stuff.
Mhm.
So journal thing. And this regarding the institute, we want to organize some courses.
Mhm.
What are the courses, particularly the applied aspects, and how job oriented and courses that we want to, because Indian anthropology graduates, they are helpless. The majority of them are jobless due to lack of skills. Due to lack of skills, it is not that the market is not offering jobs, but it is that to,
Well,
yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. What? Yeah, I mean, and this is again something that our department, even though the department at the University of South Florida is maybe the second oldest applied anthropology program in the United States.
Wow.
Uh,
Wow.
the first is at Columbia University, where I graduated from. This is the second oldest,
Oh.
which is why it was such an honor to be hired here. Um, I didn't think I was worthy. I thought they made a mistake. Um, but but they brought me on. But this is something that we still struggle with because of the same reasons that you mentioned, as far as the what you called it, the critical situation of anthropology and departments of anthropology and programs of anthropology in India. We have that here, particularly after the advent of the COVID pandemic, where they've been putting downward pressure on arts, humanities, and social sciences, and really been because of making it some so-called business model of the university. They're looking for profit and efficiency, and so therefore they don't see the immediate value of the arts, humanities, and social sciences. And so there's a reduction of investment, and it becomes more and more difficult to maintain these departments, and fewer jobs. And then the graduates, or the people going into it, say, what am I supposed to do? Why would I go into this field? So our department has been, again, very proactive and trying to offer specific things to help our students and future graduates. Professionalization seminars, simple things like not only if they're applying for an academic job, because if you want to have a curriculum vitae, like what does that look like? You know, but if you're doing a non-academic job, which is just as valid, there's nothing that says you get your PhD, you have to have an academic job. Nothing doing. You can, as you demonstrate, right? There's no reason that you have to have a PhD and then get an academic job. Not at all. You know, but if you're going to do something that's non-academic, what does your CV or resume look like? And that has something that has to be taught. If you're going for an interview, how do you do that? If you're going to operate in a professional conference or in a business meeting, how do you do that? Right, in each context. And if you go to an international meeting, right, there are going to be differences. And how do you do that? Okay. And these sorts of things, which are very practical and very useful, the students are like, they really like it, you know, helping students understand the dynamics of publishing. And if they do want to go academic ways, what are the journals? How do they find the journals? Because, you know, I'm looking at a lot of I've been working a lot in the Caribbean with Haiti and the Dominican Republic, and looking at their intellectual anthropological traditions. And even on the same island, they're different. So, and they're different from the United States traditions. And so the way that they're writing and citing and arguing, right, they're different. And so, you know, if someone from the Dominican Republic wants to publish in the United States, I'm like, you have to redo it. You can't publish that way in the United States. This is how you have to do it. And the same way, if I wanted to publish in Haiti, I can't publish the same way. I have to write in a different way. Or, for example, I have, whatever your opinion is of the World Bank, I have been hired as a research consultant for the World Bank to do anthropological work for them.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Impressive.
Thank you. But it's again goes back to the application, because they're economists and they don't know anything about people. I'm sorry.
That's right.
It is dominated by economists.
And they know big numbers and things like this, but they don't know people. And so they hire the anthropologist to say, what's going on here? And they send me out, and I send out research teams to figure this out, right? But then when I've finished this, I have to write a report. And I'm working now with graduate students on how to write a so-called white paper, which is a professional report, right? Which I'm sure you two have written plenty of these, right? You write these professional reports. It's different than an academic piece, right? It's not an academic thing. It has its own structure and language and way of argumentation. And you don't need to talk about all of the way that Durkheim thought about it, or Talcott Parsons, or Marx. You don't need to talk about that.
Yes.
Right. And students need to understand that. And these are the sorts of things that are very practical, that I think that we offer through USF, and that I'm trying to inculcate in the students I work with. So
it's great that all this are you doing in your university, but we hope that comes in India as well, because that's what needed here. You know, most people, I'm not talking about 100%, but most people come to university to, you know, build their career. They you know, have that career thing in mind, so that they join this anthropology classes. But after classes, if you don't, if it is not as expected as you want it in the market, and especially in the job market, it's very disappointing for them. As I said, all these activities you're doing in your university, or most universities in the US, that is one aspect we actually bring in India, Indian universities. That's impressive. Yeah.
I think we will collaborate with your university so that if you offer the same courses here through this virtual mode, I think, or you can train us.
Well, I mean, this could be a great moment of exchange because, again, the way things operate in India will, I'm sure, be to some degree different. So
Yeah.
I would love to learn, about how, I can say this is how we'll do things in the US if they're doing this, but how does it work in India? And you'll have to teach me because I don't know.
Definitely,
Here in this the multinational companies, and lots of the urbanization and the job market is there, but the anthropologists are not given the required skills to get employed in the NGO, international NGOs, or these MNCs and these software companies or industries. So those are when compared to the MBA graduate and a postgraduate in anthropology is looked down. So not because of the discipline, but because of the skills the market is looking for.
exactly. For
So
example, if you say in the development sector, there are a lot of firms that I'm working. I mean, the current kind of firms that are there. Presently, I'm working in a firm. So what they all need from a consultant is, project management, some statistical skills, ethnography, uh, that is focused, uh, results based uh, observations or ethnography, all that. But when a graduates graduated person came to job market, especially from anthropology, lacking all these skills when compared to an MBA student or economics student. All these people, they have these skills ready. I'm not saying they're excellent or something, but the uh, the course outlines itself, it's I think it should be upgraded to what is suitable, demanded uh, in the market.
and
uh,
I want to
yeah,
sorry.
yeah, yeah, please.
um, I want to make a point that it is very interesting for me to know how these the economics and sociology and this business administrative courses, all these, how these became very dominant in this job sector, and why anthropology was
It's not
losing
there.
its ground or grip over the job market. That is interesting for me because when compared to these disciplines, anthropology has added advantage, and it has it direct focus on the holistic study of the people and cultures, and they have a lot of qualitative insights and about human nature and behavior and culture and all these things. But why anthropology is really not able to advance its graduates in the front line of securing jobs, so that is really very painful. So that is the ground for me, like a springboard. I came and started thinking and reflecting and making a serious point. So in that process, this organization came into existence. So
Yes,
we welcome you to join us in the governing council, and
thank
as I proposed in my email communication with you.
yes,
Um,
thank you.
Yeah,
That's
very soon we are going to convene the governing council meeting. In that meeting, we pass the resolution to incorporate you into the group, so
okay.
that all people can put signatures and kind of things. So
Okay.
I have in the bylaws, so I have created some space for the global from people from other anthropologists from other countries and
Mhm.
different cultures, so that we want to have a wider network to
Mhm.
tap and map this anthropological wisdom, how it is utilized in addressing the human crisis and to improve the human condition. So those success stories we want to gather for to have a systematic, consistent publication of the International Journal of Anthropological Applications. And also
Mhm.
that cases will be challenging us and also inspiring us to apply the same models or insights here in Indian context with needed alterations. So that's why in the governing council we have created a space to accommodate the anthropologists, particularly who are interested, active, proactive in these
Mhm.
applications aspects.
Well, I would be honored to be a part of it. I have another colleague actually in our grand department at USF. Uh,
Yes, sure.
her name is Heather O'Leary, and she actually has an active research agenda in India,
Well,
uh, looking at ecological issues,
Wow.
uh, anthropology and ecology, um, and I mean she's been doing that for years, um, and so I should. Bring her up because I mean she has the same sort of I feel close to her both as a person but also as a scholar and colleague, and
Wow.
she's a very worthy person doing a lot of really wonderful things, very supportive, very collegial, um,
it's interesting.
and so I should at least make you aware of her as well as my colleague who Bart Dean knows very well, Lorena Madrigal, who Professor Duggirala knows as well, um, because they were trained by the same person, actually.
Okay.
Lorena,
Yeah, Professor Crawford.
yes, yes.
Professor
Professor
Crawford.
Crawford trained my colleague, Lorena Madrigal.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And Lorena has a project in Kerala looking at the higher frequency of twins in that area.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
okay.
And so she's been working on this for years on her twin study and the prevalence of twins and whatnot. And so again, you have two people in my department who have active research agendas in India. Um, one who's a cultural ecological anthropologist and one who's a biological anthropologist.
That's
Wow.
very interesting.
So, and then, I have an interest in doing work there. I've never done any work there, but I've an interest in
That
doing
gives that gives a lot of possibilities to collaborate more and more. That's very interesting.
and I would, please
Yeah,
go ahead.
I'm very interested to ask you your interest in research. I mean, your interest researching in India, especially in South India or in Karnataka, wherever it is. So you have already kind of planned ready or your research questions or kind of stuff.
I have interests. I have curiosities. Uh, but that's all they are right now. I mean, as in sort of a true sort of going in open-minded sort of way, because I don't know, I don't want to go in and impose and say, this is what I want to study. I'm here to take a picture of what I want to study. I'm not interested in doing that. I have things that are curious to me and interesting, but if I go to a place and it turns out that, um, you know, that migration is not an issue, okay. If it turns out that, I don't know, schooling is not an issue, okay. I need to see what's going on in this area, what's a relevant problem, what is something that needs to be understood, and offer my understanding and skills and abilities, and trying to collaborate with communities to, because, you know, and to get community buy-in so that hopefully And this is what I actually told the people at the World Bank when they hired me. I would love to get to a point where I train people, enough people in Haiti or in India, where I no longer have a job, where they don't have to hire foreigners to come and do this work, where you have people in rural India and in Haiti and in wherever else, and they need something done, you contact this person and they will do the research because they know how to do it.
All right.
Excellent. Preparing the successors and the future generations for the need-based, issue-based.
So I call it sustainable research because you're actually raising that upcoming researchers, giving an opportunity to do that.
Yeah,
locally.
That's what India needs. Actually, India is a huge nation to cultivate the democratic values and the democratic virtues and so the 4,635 ethnic groups. And the people groups are there in India. It's a the cultural pluralistic society, the largest democracy in the world. It has lots of challenges, but Indian anthropology is not yet ready to cater those needs. Not only development needs and policy needs and what people need in this kind of the complexity of the cultural pluralistic societies. Many things are happening parallelly and lots of confusion and the politicians and the administrators and civil servants, they desperately need anthropological insights, but here and there meagerly it is supplied, but not sufficiently is not available. So this institute which we started, we want to really make a mark.
That's because there's another point I want to add what Ratan had said. That's because the trained anthropologists in Indian universities, they're not given the full picture of anthropology. They are just given anthropology studies uh, mainly the tribal issues or tribal people or some kind of issues. It's only giving the very the narrowest um, understanding of anthropology. Uh, I think there are only a few anthropologists who promote the fullest of anthropology, what anthropology can do in the present society. And I think that makes a lot of difference. So that people, when students graduated from anthropology, they try to look into the issues that are relevant in present society.
So I have a question. I'm sorry, I have a question for you all.
Yes.
Yeah.
With this holistic historical approach, multifaceted approach that anthropology can and should bring to bear on important problems. Sometimes when we're trying to understand the problem, it can describe it in ways that will put the people in power in a defensive or uncomfortable position. And they may not like what the anthropologists have to say. So how do you deal with that?
Yeah, excellent question. Recently,
these are the practical problems. And even in academics also, it is not that the anthropology professors do not know about applied anthropology. They know about anthropological contributions. They know about the holistic perspective, how it can make the difference in the society. Because of the pure and impure divide, applied anthropology as impure domain kind of thing. That belief, they paralyzed anthropology in the job sector, in the job market, where the applications aspect, one wing is 100% cut down. So because of impure things. So we anthropologists, we study, we describe and explain what people do, why people do. That's it. Our job is done. It is up to the policymakers, it is up to the NGOs, up to the administrators to look into the matters. We are not going to attend to the human problems. That kind of imbalance this thing. So that's why in my interview questions, which I am going to ask the senior anthropologists, what is the vision of anthropology as a discipline? What is the vision of anthropology as a discipline for humankind? Is there any vision to cast and kind of thing? So creatively, I'm going to ask indirectly to encourage them. What is the end task? Is anthropology teaching humans to be human or not? Why anthropology matters?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So that kind of indirect facilitation, I want to frame that some kind of questions, so that to engage them in dialogue, at least to draw some practical insights into that domain. Yeah. So the need of the hour is to design we know we identify the troubling gaps. So we need to address those gaps by designing the courses to equip the anthropology scholars and students, even faculty. We 50 members registered for digital ethnography. Out of them, around 20 people are faculty members from government universities and from one or two private institutions, and some development anthropologists who are in practicing. They also registered. So the thing is, we need to cater this emerging design anthropology, applied anthropology. Applied anthropology is a big umbrella, so under which lots of subfields again.
I'm sorry. Oh, okay. I couldn't hear you for a second. Sorry. Please go ahead.
Where this specialized, as you rightly mentioned, professionalization of the professional training courses. If that content is offered here over this virtual mode, that will be a great takeoff for this institute which we have created, and potential collaborations and all these things we need to practical. What are the practicalities? What are from our side? What we need to do, kind of thing. So many times when people come together, they discuss nice ideas and they disperse, and nothing will work out at the end of the day.
Well, let's exchange. We'll keep the conversation going. I mean, we can definitely meet through Zoom again, or we can communicate through WhatsApp or email, whatever is going to be easier.
Yeah.
Please share my contact information, and I can get a list of some of these professionalization seminars and send those to you, and then you can tell me which of these are relevant, which of these are not, what other ideas you had, and then we can try and see. I won't be able to, I can talk with my colleagues this fall to see when they're doing them and see if they're doing them online or face-to-face. And if they're doing them online, then we might be able to just share the link and have people sign up. But if not, then perhaps in the spring when I'm back on campus doing things, then I can work out a specific digital seminar for students, faculty, and whoever else in India to part of the association.
Oh, thank you so much.
Sure, my pleasure.
And your colleagues, you mentioned some ecology anthropologists and some biological anthropologists. If they join our this board, that should be a great thing. If you connect, introduce the vision of this organization, which we want to have a global. This entire humankind is our target. So it has begun in India, but it is not limited to India. So anthropology for humankind.
Right.
On that banner, we want to organize the World Congress, World Applied Anthropology Congress also in 2022. we are proposing one World Applied Anthropology Congress. Even though it begin in a small way, if 30 people purely who can make a difference in writing papers, that should be a fine beginning. Uh, and we are looking for collaborating universities. I requested Professor Dean. Then he said, you need to send me a letter so that I can take it to the department and see this proper process kind of thing.
The bureaucracy, yes, yes. Are you all familiar with the international, let me see here, International Anthropological and Ethnological,
Yes.
International Union of Anthropological and Ethnological Sciences?
IUES, yes.
Yes.
It is coming to India, the
Yes.
2023.
Yes, yes, yes.
So I'm
Okay.
having I became a peacemaker. I became a peacemaker. I'm appointing a committee, peacemaking committee, because the Indian anthropologists, they all came together because they have some, the primary stakeholders were removed from the organizing team. So there are some disappointments with the executive committee of IUEAS. So then they formed that made them to come together. Around hundreds of Indian anthropologists came together, formed United India Anthropology Forum. So they are organizing a different World Congress in the same dates, in the same month, in the same week, kind of thing. So parallelly to this International Union of Ethnological and Anthropological Science. So
Okay.
I'm negotiating with the Professor Junji, the president of this IUAS, and the senior vice president is from India. So I'm having conversations with them. Having two world congresses during the same dates is a mockery, and it will be a kind of awkward situation. Indian anthropology is on deathpan, and you people are making this confusion. It will give a bad message to the government and to the other disciplines. So please, we don't want to allow this kind of situation to happen. So please come together for peace talks. Then they started asking me, who are you, what are you, kind of thing. Then I started I am nobody, but I am the general secretary of Anthropological Association for Humankind. So in that capacity, I request you to resolve the conflict, ongoing conflict, which is becoming day by day very complex and complicated. So one group is ready, this Indian Union of the United India Anthropology Forum. The president and secretary, they are in regular touch with me. So they want to negotiate for the justice kind of thing. So um, in the Brazil, what was the General Assembly? What are the resolutions? What are the approvals was done? So based on that, we want to organize. We are the stakeholders, real stakeholders. That's what the argument of this Indian anthropology, these people. So, but due to some social activists and some NGOs and international organizations, they gave complaint that the KISS is against the KISS. They complained to the executive committee of IUES. So then they passed a resolution removing this KISS as a organizing this thing. So then they got disappointed, kind of thing. So, but the discussion is going on. Discussion is going on. I'm talking to the key leaders in the country, and I'm trying to. Um, it is not that the Indian leaders, senior anthropologists are concerned. Hundreds of letters they have written to Professor Junji, the president of IUES, but no response from the president. Even a single sentence, we have received your letter, we will look into the matter. That simple sentence also they did not receive. So that silence became a kind of mm, uh, it is disappointment. Not only disappointment, Indian anthropologists are get organized. 90% of Indian anthropologists got organized on the United India Anthropology Forum. So they want to show the dignity and the self-respect and they also want to prove themselves
Sure.
as significant anthropologists who can really who contributed to the society academically and to the nation building process. And if the minimum courtesy of responding to these things are not attended, what kind of this thing kind of they are raising a serious questions. So they're also unhappy with this kind of silence. And yeah, in these letters, the way of articulation and asking the questions, reasonably happening. So, but both sides, the international committee and national committee, both of them are humans, and they also know the situation of anthropology in India and the world, and to make a positive difference in the global level, particularly it is going to happen in India in 2023. So to make the strong impression on the nation and the government, central government and state governments, to send a strong signal to the NGOs about the importance and the contributions of anthropology. This is a great opportunity for India. After 45 years, we are getting this opportunity again. So we don't. I personally don't want, and they also don't want this kind of this kind of unwanted phenomena to continue. So at the deep of the problem, people are soft, but outwardly they are very strong. So we want to negotiate for the discipline of anthropology. That is also parallel happening. I am not experienced in peacemaking, but there is no other go. I jumped into the process, started interacting with people, and listening to the voices, and uh, personally, I'm also praying to God. God, please help, kind of thing, because it is beyond my capacity and
That's
beyond.
right. Any little bit helps, whatever we can get.
We don't want to this awkward situation to continue, and we
Yeah.
want all international and national anthropologists to come together as an anthropology fraternity to prove our strength and to make the mark on the
Yeah.
nation positively, so that inclusion of anthropology into the job market, into the recruitment sector, and particularly in the academic disciplines in the universities should to happen.
All right. Well, good luck with that. You've got your work cut out for you.
Yeah, I'm fully engaged in thinking about day and night. My children are also got familiar. You always talk about anthropology, anthropology. What is anthropology, Daddy? We miss you, kind of. So,
It's
lot of
great chance to teach them about it, and you can spread it to the future generations.
yeah, yeah, that's true. So yeah, true.
Well, gentlemen, it's been. Did you have anything else that that we can talk about right quick? I do need to go shortly.
Yeah. So the one thing is, are you available for webinars? We want to monthly once or monthly twice. We want to have some important voices speak to our Indian audience in the webinar. So that possibility. What are the topics and when are the dates? That is important thing. I want to request you to help us to pick up things.
So would it just be kind of like a presentation of how long?
uh, uh, Maybe 50 minutes or 1 hour, and after that some question hour kind of 10 to 15 minutes question hour.
Yeah, it's typically 45 minutes to 1 hour.
Mhm.
Uh, Let it be a presentation or a kind of talk
Mhm.
that the audience will be learn new things, and then they'll have questions, and there's a discussion for 15 to 20 minutes.
Okay.
uh,
Um, I could I could do that. Is it possible? Is the format and the structure in any way flexible?
Yes,
Uh,
yes, yes.
I mean, effectively, because I ask that because in my experience, for me to give a talk or to give a presentation for 45 minutes, particularly over the internet, is taxing. And so I was wondering if I might be able to like maybe divide it up into like maybe 2 or 3, even within the same session. So I like talk about something for 10 minutes and then open it up for questions, and then talk about something and then open it up for questions. So it's more of a dialogue. Is that possible?
Yeah, very much,
very much
because that becomes very vibrant, and people will like it.
Okay.
Some people may dominate also.
Okay.
We have to be very aware of that kind of thing. So,
Okay.
they
So
contribute nicely.
so you would like so you'd need dates and topics suggested, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Do you have any like anticipated ideas of when approximately you want this to happen? Any idea at all?
In August, this month, this month, maybe within 10 or 15 days, if you are available. Or it all depends on your availability.
I mean, this because of my sort of family obligations, it will take me a little bit longer to. If I didn't have the 2 boys,
Yeah.
I would say August would be doable. But given these obligations, my productivity is much lower.
Sure.
I would think to be just reasonable and fair and transparent. I think September, October would be more reasonable for me, just to be honest.
That'll be fine. Or you can come up with your dates so that we can adjust accordingly.
Yes, we will organize accordingly. That's brilliant.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll come up with some dates, and it'll be at what?
September should be fine.
What time should I think?
The timings here, because these courses are going during the daytime. People are engaged with their academic work, so some other employment work. So in the evening hours here, maybe 5 to 7 p.m. Indian Standard Time.
So 5 o'clock means 7 a.m. here. So 7 to 9 a.m. Okay, I can make that happen. I can do that. And then I'll come up with out of the. Do you have any sort of direction or sort of suggestions? You have my CV. Did I send you my CV?
I think so, but I better please send it again.
I'll send it again, and I'll send just a few ideas, and if we could maybe kind of have a sort of email exchange about possible topics.
Yes.
That you all think would be more useful. I don't want to talk about something that people don't want to know about.
True.
So I'll send you my CV, and you can look through that. I'll send you some ideas, and please be brutally honest, and say this, not this. My feelings won't be hurt, I promise. So
thank you so much.
Thank you, please. Thank you both. Thank you. So okay.
And regarding the inclusion of your colleagues into the this governing council, maybe any possible these things, or in the, conducting a symposium on with from your friends in future. Those things.
Yeah, I will contact them, and I quite honestly, through this course I told you about, the cultural anthropology sort of basic course.
Yes.
I regularly come in contact with students from South Asia, from India, sometimes Pakistan, sometimes Bangladesh, and I guess maybe they take my class because of my name or something. I don't know. and they end up like kind of drawn to me, because I'm, I'm not, your white man, right? I'm Kiran Jayram, and so they're like, okay, he knows something about where I'm from, or, and so I have a lot of students from India, Pakistan, Bangladesh who come and talk with me, and who are interested, and I kind of give some mentoring and counseling and advice academically and professionally to them. And I think that this could be something of interest to them, but also to,
Yes. Yeah.
colleagues and students in India. So I think that would be an interesting thing to think about, how we might be able to have this truly international event,
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'll pitch these ideas to my colleagues and see uh, what they're able to do, what they're interested in doing, and see what we might be able to come up with.
That's great. That's great.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Sure.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So wonderful. I will inform you about this governing council meeting.
Okay, great.
Maybe 10 days or 1 week before.
Okay.
The timings will be 7 to 9 kind of thing, so that Indian timing,
Sure.
7 p.m. to 9 p.m. So that this approval into the governing council, and this formalities, and
Okay.
also some important discussions, and to update the progress, all those things will happen.
Okay. And that brings to another question of the practicality of the dues. Now, I haven't looked into this. Is there a process online available for paying the dues?
Yes. Our bank account is not yet open. It may take another 10 days to open the bank account for the organization.
Is there a way to do this through PayPal or some other way?
For foreigners, transferring the amount to the organization account is not possible. The rules are changed. So if you have an Indian account, or if you have some friend in India to whom you can transfer money, and they can deposit into the organization account, kind of stuff. So
Is it not possible for you all to set up a PayPal account with your bank account?
yes, it is possible. I need to open the PayPal account for my
Because
bank account.
Because if you can do that, then I can send you money through PayPal.
Yes. Yes. That's what the Professor Dugirala also suggested.
Yeah.
But I have not yet started the process. I will do within 1 or 2 days.
Yeah, it's very easy. So because as soon as that can happen, then I can take care of the dues. It's not a problem.
Yeah, some online signature and some photo. I need your the profile photo, and these are ID cards, and maybe your driving address proof and ID proof. Both are needed to submit to the government registration office. So that online signature is acceptable to the local government. So that's how this Professor Ravindranath Dugrala and Professor Dr. This Bart Dean, those things were done.
Okay.
So I will share those things through the WhatsApp. These things, what are the things? So can.
Sounds good. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for reaching out to us, reaching out to me. So I look forward to future engagements, activities, and conversations.
Yeah, and also I request you, if there is any possibility of collaborating for this World Congress on applied anthropological this thing in 2022 in the December, if not December, maybe November last week. So that kind of possibilities also you please explore, so that this Kansas University and the University of South Florida and this International Institute of Anthropological Applications together, maybe Indian Anthropology, Indian University also can be part of that collaborating this thing of to organize this event. If not physical, the online virtual conference we can conduct. Because of this pandemic situation, we never know what is going to be the future. So this digital ethnography became the normal course. So yeah, we are offering already. So if you have any possibility, you told already in September, October, your availability for speaking engagements, right?
Yeah.
So yeah. Maybe in September we will request you to share some digital anthropology classes also, if possible.
Okay. All right.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much.
Okay. Well, enjoy the rest of your evening. All right.
Yeah.
It's already night here.
Have a nice day, Dr. Jayram sir. Thank you so much. It's a very nice Indian name, and with American skin color, but Indian in spirit. You are a global citizen, anyway.
That's Humankind.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you both. Take care.
Yeah, have a nice day. Someday we want to see your family members and that your wife and your twins sons, two sons.
Oh yeah, my sons and my sons are named Ravi and Kay.
Oh,
One is Indian name and K is American name, I think.
Yeah, Kay is actually named after my mother. But
oh, your mother. Okay. Oh, wonderful.
But yeah, one of these days for sure. Hopefully, we'll be able to go to India.
wow.
That's interesting.
That's very nice.
Yeah.
Best to you, best to your families.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Have a nice day. This is a very productive meeting we had. So I'm thankful to Professor Ravindranath Duggirala sir and our Vice President, Dr. Bart C. Dean, um, for introducing Dr. Jayram from the University of South Florida, Assistant Professor in Applied Anthropology, so who is chairing the courses related to Applied Anthropology there. So we look forward for the future collaboration in offering the courses and conducting the World Applied Anthropology Congress. And we had a very productive meeting. Thanks. Thank you, Dr. Raj Kumar, for joining us.
Making me part of this.
Yeah, our members will be very excited to hear this.
I'm sure.